I'm Ellie from Greater Manchester Doulas, and today we're going to do a video about giving birth in water, whether that's at home or at the birth centre. In this video we're going to bust some water birth myths. We are going to talk about the practicalities of giving birth in water, and we're going to go over the pros and cons of birthing or just labouring in water. What you'll need for a home birth in water is a pool, a liner, a water supply, tap connector, hose, an air pump and a water pump. Some things you might like to have are a cover for the pool so it can keep its heat longer, although even without a cover it will only lose about 1 degree of heat per hour. A mirror if you would like to see your baby emerge. A sieve for scooping out poop, vernix, other things that might be floating around in the water so it doesn't get stuck in the pump afterwards. You might like to get a thermometer to gauge the temperature of the water before you get in. It doesn't have to be any specific number, it's just what makes you comfortable, but just as a rough estimate, which is why it's might be better to get a cheaper thermometer and not a digital one, because with digital it's accurate to 2 decimal places and then you can get a little bit obsessed about the perfect temperature when there actually is no such thing. A bucket is good for lots of different scenarios. With a bucket you can use it to take extra water out if you're wanting to top up with hot. You can use it to be sick and you can use it to have a wee in. Just a great all-round piece of kit. And a stool. In some birth pools you have this little blow-up step or a stool. Nobody really knows what it is and it's not helpful for either being a stool or a step. But if you have your own stool, then if you are to get in and out of the pool, which is very, very common, once you're in you don't have to stay in, you can just get in and out according to what your instincts are telling you. And if you've got a stool there with maybe a towel on to stop it being slippy, then that's pretty much everything you need. Obviously, get some towels if you want some towels, have some things on hand for if you are in and out of the pool to make sure that you can get dry and warm really, really fast.
Setting up your pool is super easy. First, you just need to get it out of the bag, and when you do this, it's really important to make sure that the pool is at room temperature. If it's been kept somewhere cold and then you try and unfold it, the plastic can become really brittle and that can damage the pool. So make sure that the pool is room temperature, get it out the bag, unfold it, and then find the valves. So with an electric air pump, find the valve on the pool. This pool just has one, but the birth pool in a box pools have 3 separate rings, so there'll be 3 separate valves, and you just let it fill up. So the pools do come with an inflatable floor. I haven't inflated it in this video, but if you do want to do that, make sure you do it before you inflate the sides, because otherwise it can be quite difficult to reach in and do that. If you don't want to inflate the floor or there's a problem with yours, it's no problem because you can just put something soft under the pool, a big duvet, blankets, just to cushion under your knees. Before you use the pool, you're going to want to use a liner, so get the liner, open it out. This is a universal liner, which is great because it can be used in all sizes of pools and all brands, and just make sure that it's over the edges and fitted around the floor of the pool before you start to fill it with water. And that's it, you're done. The next step is just to fill it with water. All of the pools come with these double valves, so it opens up to be a big hole to let the air out. But when you're filling it, this only goes one way. So the air can get in, but it won't escape while you're trying to blow up the pool.
There are lots of potential benefits for birthing and labouring in water for both the woman and her baby. Research has shown that women who birth in water report less pain and higher satisfaction with their birth experience. Women are less likely to need medication for pain relief. There is less use of artificial oxytocin to bring on labour or speed things along, and also research has shown that it possibly shortens labours too. Women who birth in water are more likely to have a normal vaginal birth. Birthing in water has also been shown to be protective against episiotomies, so you're less likely to need one. You are less likely to suffer a severe tear, so that's 3rd and 4th degree tears. For women who birthed in water, they had high rates of having an intact perineum. Research also suggests that when women birth in water, there's possibly lower rates of postpartum hemorrhage after the birth. Potential benefits for your baby when you birth in water are that they are less likely to need to be transferred to hospital after they're born for newborn health-related problems.
So when considering having a water birth, there are some potential cons. One is that you can't use the TENS machine whilst you're in the water. That doesn't mean that you can't use both, you just have to use them at different times. So you might use the TENS in early labour before you get into the pool, or you can get in and out of the pool as long as you're dry, and you can use the TENS machine in between. So it's not a massive con, but something to consider. Being in the pool, if you have people present at your birth, can potentially make you feel observed. So being aware that it can make you feel observed being in the pool can help you decide where to put your pool and what to do with the furniture around your pool. So if you have sofas in the same room, you might want to turn them to face the other way, turn them upside down. You might want to tell the people present at your birth that you don't want them in the same room, or you don't want them sitting facing the pool. So not necessarily a con, but it's something to consider when deciding where to put your pool and what the space around it looks like and what that might feel like if people are in the same room as you. When you're in the birth pool, a birth partner might not be able to reach you enough to give physical support like hip squeezes or lower back massage. So that is potentially a con if that's something that you think you might want in labour. But again, it can be done in between if you're in and out of the pool, or sometimes people do find a way to reach when you are in the pool. If midwives are attending your birth, they may not bring a waterproof Doppler, and this is not your problem. They should bring one. And if you do want to be monitored and they don't have a waterproof Doppler, it might just mean that they ask you to get out of the pool. This is still your choice, whether they have a waterproof Doppler or not. It's always your choice whether you want to be monitored. But it may just be one of the reasons that they ask you to get out of the pool. Midwives might ask you to get out of the pool for many reasons, but normally for some kind of monitoring or vaginal examination. So again, this is completely your choice. You don't have to get out of the pool. You don't have to accept the examinations or monitoring. But if you do decide that you want them, you may have to get out of the pool for them, depending on the equipment that they bring or the position that you're in if they can't reach. But again, you can decide when this feels comfortable and how often you want this to happen, if at all. Getting into the water may slow down your labour. This is absolutely fine. Labour has a habit of speeding up and slowing down based on many different things, but the environment can have an impact on that. So it's completely fine if your labour slows down a bit. It might just be that that's exactly what your body needs. So if you feel the need to get in the pool, just go for it. It may also speed up labour, and that is fine too, even if your midwife isn't there. Women are often told by midwives not to get into the pool until the midwife's there, until they've had a vaginal examination, until some goalpost. But you can get in and out of the pool whenever you feel like it. Whether this slows down labour or speeds up labour or doesn't change it at all, it doesn't matter. If you feel comfortable in the pool, then that's where you should be. And if you want to get out at any point, that's absolutely fine.
This is one position I sometimes see women in the pool, maybe more like this. It's tempting for birth partners in when a woman is in a position like this to get in behind her to offer her physical comfort, but then there's the getting out, because in a minute I might say, I need a drink, and then there's lots of getting out and getting cold and getting back in and getting changed and stuff. But you can still support me if you can squeeze.
And sometimes it is a bit like this at birth, but as a birth partner, you have to be in kind of uncomfortable positions.
Because she's not going to care.
You're not important. You're not as important. So if a woman was sat like this, you might be able to sit behind her and offer some reassuring words. Put a cold funnel on her head.
Squeeze my shoulders.
Squeeze her shoulders. So much of the time, just being close to a woman and saying that you know that she knows that you're there can be really comforting.
When you're this close, it can be very comforting and reassuring as well to do mirrored breathing. So if I was like this and I was, then what might you do to
take some deep breaths and just model slow, controlled breathing. No one ever relaxes when someone says, just slow your breathing down and relax. But by modelling that and by being relaxed yourself, the woman can pick up on that and follow your lead.
What if I was like this?
What if you were like that?
Mm-hmm.
Just put my hands on your shoulders, remind you to gently put them down, relax your body, and yeah.
I was like this.
Let go of the pool, woman.
Because it does make more sense to the woman, rather than engage her in conversation, to just model, like with the breathing. Because you've talked beforehand about how you don't want to have your shoulders around your ears, and you don't want to be clenching your hands. Instead of saying, hey, do you remember when we talked about relaxing during birth? It's much easier for the woman to process that information when it is just from touch from someone that you trust.
And don't be afraid to follow your intuition as the birth partner for what the woman might need, because if you put your hands on her shoulders and she doesn't want to, she's going to say, and then you can follow her lead too. So it really is a dance. You don't need to ask where the person's going to put their feet next. You just kind of follow and you get into a flow with one another. And as labour goes on, and the longer that you're there supporting her, the more easy it is to pick up on those cues and pick up on what she needs and what she wants.
If you are going to make a guess, go for the stronger touch rather than lighter. I mean, there's definitely, I'm going to demonstrate on you.
Yeah.
In hitting birthing sometimes there's light touch, which can be really nice, but obviously, but women in labour like to feel hard edges. It helps women to feel grounded, to know where they are in space, and sometimes that comes from a partner. So it's much nicer for the woman, instead of just being like, oh, you okay? Oh, is there anything I can do? Like, that's, but actually a stronger, a firm touch.
Yeah.
Like, these women are not, labouring women are not fragile.
Mm-mm.
They are strong and tough, and the stronger you are, then the more they have to draw on. So yeah, go for this rather than if it's not right, she'll tell you. It's okay. So let's do some more positions.
So this is a really common position for women to adopt in the pool, and it's great because she can feel supported and fully put all of her weight on the edge of the pool, but also her pelvis is really nice and open. She can move her hips freely if she wants to. And it gives her baby lots of space to move down and to come out.
I can also reach for drinks and funnels if I need to. My partner isn't paying attention.
Mm-hmm. And this position is really good again for supporting the woman, because you can again use cold funnels on her head or on her shoulders. And it's really common for women to want the warmth of the pool but to still get too hot. So the cold funnels is a really good way of meeting both of those needs at the same time.
This is a good position as well for if a woman wants to have a rest. She might not even know that she's having a rest, but we see women fall asleep in between surgeries all the time, and it's quite easy to do if you like this, because you're not going to float anywhere, you're anchored. And this is why the firmness of the birth pool really comes into it, because it's not just a container for water. The woman is going to want to push against this, she's going to want to lean on it. So that's why it's got to be really firm, in fact a bit firmer than this. You know, you see people on TV doing CPR. Think of that. Think about the pushback when you're filling it in. So as you can see, this isn't enough.
So something to consider when a woman is in this position, if she doesn't want to necessarily lay on her hands, is to put a cushion or a towel folded up over the edge of the pool, and that can be really nice to lay her head on, so it's not directly on the plastic. And sometimes these liners can have a bit of a smell when they're first opened up, so It's really great to air out the liner beforehand, open the windows to try and get rid of that smell, but also having a towel there can just be a bit of a barrier, so that smell is not right next to the woman's nose.
Women can catch their babies in any position, and the beauty of being in water is that your baby's not going to hit the ground. So you can really take up any position that makes you feel comfortable, knowing that your baby is good. Nobody has to catch them, nobody has to prevent them landing on the floor, which is very unlikely. In this position, it's easy to see your baby coming out and to bring your baby up to the air into your chest. So if you're in this position and your baby is coming and you want to catch your own baby, then this is a great position to be in because you can move backwards and receive your baby like this. But if the baby floats out the other way, then before you bring your baby to the surface, pass your baby back under your legs so you can bring them out of the water and bring them to your chest. It's very tempting when you see a baby under the water to bring them to the surface, but if you can resist that urge, because if you bring the baby to the surface like this, then you get into a difficult position where you have to try and pass the baby under your leg or lift your leg over your baby or stand up and you might not feel ready to do that. So if you can, even if your baby's floating around here, you can just find them, bring them back, and bring them up like this.
So now you've had your baby, you've birthed them in the water, and it's time to pack the pool away. Hopefully not you, you'll be relaxing with your baby somewhere, but someone who's there to support you. So the first step is to take all of the water out. Now it's a good idea to scoop out any solid mucky bits with a sieve beforehand, and then you can use a water pump attached to the hose and you can put the end outside or in the toilet and let that drain out. Once that's happened, just remove the liner and it makes the rest of it really easy. So just scoop the liner out, put that in a bin bag, throw it away. Once you've given the pool a clean, then you can let the air out. To speed up this process, you can see that I'm using the air pump again. Most air pumps have a separate attachment where you can put the nozzles that suck the air out as well. So that's what I'm doing here, just to help speed up the process. Once the air is all out of the pool, it's time to fold it up, flatten the pool down and then fold it into thirds lengthways, and then you can just roll it up. Roll the pool up as tightly as you can, as this is just going to make it as easy as possible to put it into the bag that it came out of. It can be handy to have an extra pair of hands so you can hold it tight while someone pops the bag over the top. And that's it, you are done. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you didn't know already, we are a community interest company, a grassroots organisation run by, for and with women, and these videos are a core part of our mission to provide holistic support and accessible education to birthing women so they can realise their innate power and wisdom. If you want to support us, please check out our website, follow us. We're all about accessible support for women everywhere.